3 ways to develop effective and powerful NLP communication skills. Interaction between people is complex. It's a complex thing even at the best of times. Misunderstanding and feeling misunderstood is commonplace, which definitely doesn't come under the heading of good communication. It is certainly not the advanced way NLP can teach us. There are a great number of factors that contribute to this outcome, and here are just a few of them. Factor number 1. Now this is usually the biggest problem, which is we get mentally triggered to an emotional response. This can be anything from a positive response all the way out to a massive, unwarranted, extreme negative response, which can be the case all too often. The emotional response then causes us to skew the meaning of the experience, so as to justify the emotion that has been triggered for us. All normal, everyday, sensible logic then gets thrown out of our minds, and we then project a negative meaning onto the person's actions. Factor number 2. We tend to, on a daily basis, to simply communicate in a natural, unconscious style of our very own, with no awareness as to how the person we are communicating with prefers to receive and process information. We can be far too vague for them to understand, or we can, on the other hand, be far too detailed for them to follow. Or maybe it's just the words that we choose to use simply do not connect and resonate for them enough to engage them. And finally, factor number 3. We spend most of our lives and almost all of our communication assuming we are being understood. We simply have an expectation that we've been understood because it all seems so clear in our own minds. Everyday communication has all of these 3 factors. People interact in this way all of the time. We could be discussing politics, we could be discussing our work, our dreams, our hopes, our aspirations. We still do it this way. In fact, the more important the subject is, the more we will do it. Human relations tend to get stressed and strained because we are constantly miscommunicating. Now this is not effective. This is not effective, that's not satisfying or fulfilling, and that is why we teach people a better way. And NLP training is exactly how we do it. The giveaway is in the name. Neuro-linguistic programming. Now whether you study the practitioner level material or maybe the master practitioner level, which is significantly more advanced, you are likely to make massive positive changes in your communication capabilities. Now, there will be many things that you'll learn in these trainings, but there is effectively 3 things that you'll learn in these trainings that will have a positive impact on your interactions and communication. 1 is learning to control your mental and emotional state. 2 is becoming far more sensory aware. And 3 is learning to say it the way you want it, and recognizing the message is actually being received. Sounds good? But is it easy? Learning new behavioral skills can be a bit tricky, though there is a system of making it easy, and that is what we teach in both of our available NLP courses. New skill number 1, being in total control of your state. Ask yourself, have you ever done something that you have regretted and can now notice the behavior was driven by an out-of-control state? Have you perhaps limited yourself in the past because of fear or anxiety? Maybe you haven't done something that you did want to do because you lacked the confidence. Now this is mostly because in that moment you allowed yourself to be consumed by the negative emotional state. The interesting thing is that now when you look back on it, because you are no longer engaged in it, the charge will be less, or even gone completely, and you will be aware now of so many more positive options. Controlling your state in this way, not climbing into a negative or limiting space, will always serve you better and give you more choices in the moment. New skill number 2, becoming significantly more sensory aware. Knowing for certain what's real and recognizing easily what's not. We are all guilty of taking literally nothing and creating it into something. Seeing a molehill and imagining it to be a mountain. This is the process of affecting our perceptions of reality. We allow ourselves to see only what we believe is already there, and anything else that might conflict with that, we make it literally disappear. Reality only truly exists in our imaginations. We feel what we feel, and then we must project out into reality all the things that would validate that feeling. The skill is to stop. Take a moment and think about the situation. And really think about it. What tangible evidence is there to support what you are choosing to believe to be real? And our third and final skill, new skill number 3, which I believe is one of the very best skills. That is the skill of being in control of your language, choosing your words with volition. All of our words convey meaning. They create pictures in the mind of the listener, and a word that seems positive to you could have a completely different meaning for them. The words you use will trigger for the listener an internal representation of reality. Their reality though, not yours. The pictures that your language creates could easily have effective and influential positive meaning, which will stimulate for the listener a nice, pleasant experience. But your words, if chosen carelessly, then can easily and unintentionally force the listener to associate into a negative experience. And that, of course, will make for a nasty, unpleasant experience. To learn these powerful techniques, you would have to learn NLP. Learning the rules that define reality from illusion, and learning the power of controlling the levels of your specificity and ambiguity, and of course learning how to be able to only say exactly what you mean every time. Becoming a master of influence and persuasion by studying NLP practitioner and master practitioner material.